Man, that autism video sure did well. If only I could make another video similar to it. Like maybe one on bisexuality animation. Unfortunately, I myself am not bi, so it would not be right for me to make this video. Unless, of course, I had like another person who is bi work with me on it.
Hi, Stripe!
What the frick?
Hey there, old buddy, old pal, old amigo, old chum, old friendo. Heard you were looking for a bisexual, and well, between you and me, I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. So, you know, want to make that bisexual video with me?
Do I have to?
Yes.
Ah, geez, Spells! I don't even know what a bisexuality is!
Really? What are you, some kind of dumbass? Yeah, that's right, I can swear I'm not beholden to the confines of this silly little guy's twisted rules. I can say nearly whatever words I want. But yeah, okay, I'll define bisexuality. It steals straight from ye olden dictionary. The quality or characteristic of being sexually or romantically attracted to both men and women, or to more than one sex or gender.
Isn't that just pansexuality?
Shut the fuck up. But basically the answer to that is complicated. Listen, it's the LGBTQ plus community. Terms are very loosely defined over here. We're mostly just going off vibes. Like, look at me. I've been attracted to people who don't consider themselves either a dude or a chick, but I still call myself bisexual because I think it gets the gist of my sexuality across well enough. Also, the flag has better colors.
Alright, but who cares about real world stuff? How are we gonna find it for silly little cartoons?
Basically, just any character that's shown attraction to both men and women, or has been confirmed off-screen to be specifically bisexual.
And I guess that makes sense, but I don't know why I'm here, so I'm not actually bi. Wait, have you actually seen the cartoon?
At most 3.
I can do something!
Yeah, admittedly, my expertise lie elsewhere, which you can see in the channel Spellbound Media. I mean, yeah, so that's why I got this goofy goober over here to help me, where my knowledge of cartoons falters.
That's me. Though that reminds me, the first 2 bisexual characters in cartoons are from an anime, actually, called Rose of Rosé, which released all the way back in 1979.
Oh yeah, I saw a bit of that. Admittedly, haven't watched the full thing yet, so maybe things differ, but I've got some thoughts on the first ever bisexual character, Marie Antoinette, who, as far as a quick Google search can tell me, wasn't bi, but whatever. Just to clarify, Rose of Versailles is a historical fiction show that does take place a little bit before the French Revolution, and includes some historical facts, but the way it portrays most of its characters is purely fictitious. So Marie Antoinette, as she did in real life, gets married to Louis XVI, but is shown to have a crush on the main character of the show, which is a girl named Oscar. Whilst this sounds pretty friggin' epic at first, it's important to remember that in this show, Marie is incredibly young, about 12 if memory serves correct, so it's not as the crush is something the show takes seriously. It's just another way the show depicts Marie Antoinette as being very immature, as earlier in the episode she literally gets kidnapped for trying to get out of her royal duties. As I understand it, girls having crushes like these are fairly normalized in Japan, but only when the girl is underage and therefore immature. So it's not exactly bi representation as most people today would want it, but you know, it's still neat.
Okay, but I hate anime.
Hey, fair enough. Want to move on to South Park?
No, I want to talk about how the best bisexual character of all time is actually Muscle Man Regular Show, who has a solid 12-inch cock and balls.
Well, alright, then, but yeah, the first canonically bi character in Western animation is Leanne Cartman, who's Cartman's mom in South Park. Yeah, so let's just talk about the joke characters now.
Yeah, despite how a lot of bisexual characters are nowadays, at the start, a lot of bi characters are mostly just there as a bit. Like how one of the bisexual characters on our list is Leanne Cartman from South Park. But the episode where she's revealed to be bisexual is called Cartman's Mom is Still a Dirty... Spells, can you say this big boy word for me?
Slut.
Thank you. But yeah, a lot of the first bi characters either came from South Park, Family Guy, Cleveland Brown, American Dad, whatever the heck Sit Up, Shut Down is.
Man, nobody was doing cartoon bi representation in the late 2000s like Seth MacFarlane. But anyway, same-sex marriage was legalized in America in 2015, so most examples prior were in shock comedies, and were generally associated with being slutty.
Which is a wild stereotype, because look at Spells. They're bisexual and they still don't get laid.
Ain't that the truth? Wait.
And generally, they weren't even the main focus for the characters. They just kind of happened to occasionally have the same sex relationships for, say, comedy. which may or may not be later adapted as bi.
Various South Park characters, Beth and Jerry from Rick and Morty, Meg and Stewie, basically the entire cast of Drawn Together, and beloved character Jay Big Mouth are all basically just walking punchlines where, despite some characters being more important than the others, their sexuality is notably just a gag.
That's not to say these shows can't handle LGBTQ plus characters at points. Look at Rick's pansexuality or Craig and Tweek's relationship. But for the bis, again, they're mostly just punching bags.
But hey, things got a little bit better over time. See, if you just look at twitter.com...
Listen, we all know companies want to seem inclusive, but they also want money. As such, a good amount of bis, and heck, most LGBTQ plus characters, are confirmed either off-screen via interviews or creative statements, or on-screen via very vague references, like a flag sticker or two characters briefly holding hands at the end of the show, not naming anything in Final Core.
This is a bit more common in children's media, as ones for adults tend to be able to actually use queer terms, but that limitation hasn't stopped this segment from having the most characters.
Most here are just, yep, they're bi, but I feel that's more interesting. At least to me. I'm starting to feel like some creators see bisexuality as a get-out-of-straight-free card. Bo and Glimmer from She-Ra, for example, were confirmed a couple at the end of Zero, but when asked about their exact orientation, creator Andy Stevenson immediately clarified they're definitely not straight, before later saying both are bi.
In DuckTales 2017, Launchpad falls into a similar crashing plane. When asked about Launchpad's past girlfriends, they were quick to say, oh yeah, he also had boyfriends too. Later on, they also claimed every single character in the series is LGBTQ+ in some way. But outside of Penumbra and Violet's silent gay dads, anyone's exact orientation is a mystery.
Personally, I feel like stuff like this is a cop-out. Either tell me that Glamour likes men flat out, or don't give me these vague statements.
Let me see Launchpad and Darkwing Duck kiss, god damn it!
Also, I can't confirm it, but it does feel like this is why Hunter is bi. Same as Willow being pan. It's a lazy way of pandering to a group desperate for more representation.
Some do get on-screen rep, but only just kinda. We mentioned Sasha Amphibia's 5-second bi sticker near the end of the show, and also in the same show, Jess has a shirt with the colors of the bi flag on it.
It goes on and on. Wendy's bi because she has the vibe. Connie is shockingly the only bi character in the universe just because her voice actress is too. It's lame, but I feel like it's mostly less because the creators want them to be off-screen only, and because, well, Russia and China.
It's especially frustrating for shows like Owl House and Steven Universe to have these weird cop-outs, because both shows are really good at showing representation. The Owl House's main character, Luz, is basically everything I want out of a bi character, and it was really cool to see, because she's literally me for real on God. Though I understand stories won't always lend itself to characters showing off what their sexuality is, I feel like confirming it off-screen also takes away the ability for fans to come to their own conclusions.
Wow, Owl House and Steven Universe only going halfway for some sexualities, but not all? Wow, that must suck. At least the fandom respects them, though. Definitely can relate. Definitely can relate.
Oh god, I feel a lap dot round coming on. Want to talk about gay people?
Oh boy, do I!
On-screen representation is usually what you want to strive for with queer characters, but even then it can be a bit rocky. There's a good handful of characters that all seem like good bi rep, but 4 of them start with bad boyfriends, then rebound to a good girlfriend. Not a bad thing, of course, but with fandom being how it is, it's very easy to interpret them as just lesbians, which is rad. I love women, just look at my Twitter retweets. But that's not really their sexuality.
Which, yeah, everyone in this category is a woman. I mentioned in my video of spotting the map path that female characters tend to get a much better queer rep, and it certainly holds true here.
Harley's like the perfect example. She starts with Joker, gets, physically and emotionally abused, then goes to Ivy and has a much better time. While this absolutely works well as its own individual story, with the way fandom is, it's very easy to read her as someone who was never truly into men, just only obsessed with the Joker, leading to a bad relationship, and then was fully free and out as a lesbian with Ivy, which is arguably good lesbian representation, but not necessarily good bi representation, though this is fixed in the comics and movies, where she's shown to be attracted to other men like Bruce Wayne, and that one guy she killed in the Suicide Squad. But again, those are alternate continuities.
Though it definitely isn't good bi representation is when Poison Ivy cheated on her fiancé who did nothing wrong, neither her or Harley really ever getting called out on it, and instead the show congratulating for it, and really leading to the biggest bi stereotype of them being cheaters. But, it's done with 2 hot women, so I guess it's perfectly fine to cheat?
Similarly, Marceline is canonically bi, but it's easy to overlook when her only relationship other than Princess Bubblegum is Ash. He was this abusive and manipulative jerk. We obviously stan Marceline, but I wish she had more focus on anyone other than PB. because on screen it looks more like lesbian representation rather than bi representation, which, again, it's still good, don't get me wrong, and in a perfect world we'd have way more of both. It just kinda sucks that a lot of the more prominent bisexual characters aren't fully shown off as bisexual within their respective cartoons.
Fans aren't the only one who made that mistake. Cartoon Network once posted artwork on their social media of Marceline in front of a lesbian flag, basically erasing her sexuality. Wow! Seeing social media ignoring character sexuality? Ha! Could you imagine that happening? More than once? For the same character? Oh, don't worry, I'm definitely making a video on you.
To briefly cut off Stripe's millionth lap dot rant, before you ask about Bubblegum, her sexuality is very much up in the air too. While some places like Wikipedia list her as bi, the show is very wishy-washy on it. Her relationship with Finn is strictly platonic on her end. She was in an arranged marriage with a guy, so he don't count. Ice King and Ricardio are stalkers, so they're obviously out. And while she was dating Mr. Cream Puff, their entire relationship is very much in shadows and up for debate. Most fans do read her as lesbian, but whether that's because she is or because fandoms keep forgetting bisexuals exist, that's up to you.
The Velma versions of Velma and Daphne also date creating men before falling for each other. But I want to talk about Velma, so let's move on.
So that leaves us with Luna Loud from the Loud House. Admittedly, she's a much different case, as she doesn't date any awful guys before falling for Sam. Instead, in one singular episode, she and all the other sisters were all fawning over this one guy and trying to get his attention. As this is one episode though, and her relationship with Sam is one of two things people know about this show besides fandom incest, it's pretty easy to miss nonetheless. Not that I've actually seen Loud Family or whatever it's called though. Stripe wrote this part, not me. I really needed that to be known.
So spells, I guess the big problem with a lot of bi characters is they're usually sidelined or just seen as punchlines. But I can't think of a few characters you might like.
Oh?
Well, first is Luz, who when it comes to bi representation does basically everything perfectly. She shows attraction to both genders, loudly declares her bisexuality. Pride flag and all.
Yeah, there's also Charlie from Has-Been, Bean from Disenchantment, Enid and Venomous from OK-KO, Norma Khan and Dead End, and Korra and Asami for 2 minutes.
While you could admittedly look at Charlie as an example from our last segment, she is confirmed to have a boyfriend and is of course deeply in love with Verbalace. And their relationship isn't portrayed badly like Marceline and Harley's are.
Despite Bean being from a Matt Groening show, her sexuality is really well done. She starts with Elfo, but after the two realize they aren't truly meant for each other, mostly thanks to Elfo being really annoying, she later falls in love with Mora the mermaid. Enid
and Professor Venomous from OK-KO are also shown dating both sexes. Albeit for Enid, her relationship with the Red Action is much more pronounced than Venomous' relationship with Boxman. It's still there, but it is very much in the background compared to Enid's. Notably, he's the only male character in the segment, which, again, yeah, they are getting kind of screwed here.
While Norma never has super clear attraction to men, her being bi is very heavily touched upon in the show, with her being alongside Luz as the only characters here from children's animation to directly use the term bi.
And of course, there's a few characters I could mention. The big ones besides Luz are Korra and Asami. Only confirmed canon for like 2 minutes. This was a major domino to fall for their representation in children's media, and are overall shown to be a very loving and respectful couple.
Though honestly, children's cartoons still have it better than adult animation, where, besides some of what we already talked about, one of the only bona fide bis in adult animation is Coach Stopframe from Moral Oral. He's the guy from the "Your Mom Loves Your Dad" clip that gets shared around every now and again. It's scenes on the more serious side like that which help boost him from being entirely a punching bag, though there was also that scene where he had sex with dogs. So there is that.
There's a few others, like Star and Jackie from Star Vs, who both are shown on screen, just super extremely briefly. Or Pampoovy from Archer, who despite not being super chronologically attractive, something brought up in the show, has scored with both men and women and isn't treated as bad.
Bisexuality in fiction can definitely be shown better, and there have been noticeable improvements in recent years, as something that applies to most branches of the queer community, which is honestly great, and it's very cool to see. It's just important to note the regular trappings of bi representation so that we can improve even more.
As an outsider, so I'd like to see the bi character start in a healthy same-sex relationship. The two split in mutual terms, and they end with a character of the opposite sex. Something so that bi people aren't discount gays, but are still bi no matter what. There's plenty of shows that depict a character who have a crush on 2 or more people at the same time. Why not have those characters have 2 or more genders? There's legit storytelling potential that most people are missing out on.
Or hell, maybe even let things get a bit polyamorous. Poly representation is also something dreadfully underrepresented in like all media. So you know, 2 birds, 1 stone, all that jazz.
And while we're at it, let men be bisexual too! So many of the characters mentioned here are women, and that's great, but preferably, representation means that all are represented.
I get that bisexuality is arguably the hardest to show in a story. After all, you have to show a character be attracted to at least two whole entire people, and that doesn't sound that difficult. Come on now, y'all.
You know, with cartoons having bad autism rep, now finding out they have bad bi rep, what's even the point of watching cartoons anymore?
Because they're silly and have flashing colors.
True!
Well, now that I've once again saved the day and ranted on and on about fictional gay people, it's time I return from whence I came. To me, Tampa, Florida. Vroom.
That's not even where you live.
I was visiting family.
Oh, alright. Well then, goodbye, Spell, from the channel Spellbound Media. May you please rest in peace. Wait, does that mean they're dead? I might make more of these kind of videos looking at representation and animation, but if it's something that I'm not, like this one, then I'd like to do it with someone who is of that specific type of person. Not the best way to say it, but I'm not good with words. If any of you guys are my friends and you would want to jump into one of these videos, like the bisexual video, this one, or the autism video, make sure to tell me, and I might want to do stuff. Yeah, don't worry, the Ace, Arrow, and Arrow Ace video is coming soon. It'll be 30 minutes with 25 of that being laughed out rant.
Look, it's got a mushy center. Just like me.
Yeah, we can totally kill it now!